Now it's time to check in with our Cardinals check-in. I mean, if you guys didn't get a chance to see the ball game Monday night, Arizona Cardinals traveling to Dallas to play against the Dallas Cowboys, primetime matchup with a bunch of primetime players. Last week before this matchup, Pat, you mentioned that, you felt like Andy Dalton couldn't beat you guys and you wanted to make Andy Dalton beat you. He didn't beat you, neither did Ezekiel or Elliott. Tell us about what went right for you guys Monday night, this past Monday night against the Cowboys.
We came off the bus wanting to stop the run. We knew those guys were going to try to get Ezekiel into the game early and often. I think forcing him to fumble those balls and back-to-back possessions definitely put a little damper on their offense on how they planned for it to go. So by us taking out the run early, making Andy throw the ball 54 times, we know he's capable of doing that, but like I said last week, we think there's more opportunities to make plays when the ball is in the air versus when the ball is being carried. But it ended up working out for the best of us on both sides. We got 2 forced fumbles and 2 fumble recoveries, and we got 2 picks as well. So it was a good game plan that Coach Vance put together. Guys really bought into the game plan. Really had a great week of preparation, and like you said, the stars came out to play. The lights was bright, and that I feel that that's what this team needed. For us to get to where we want to go, have those primetime games, have those night games, get used to it because we plan on being in the playoffs. Truth be told.
No question. And looking at how you guys performed Monday night, man, if you guys continue to sustain that type of production, no reason why you guys should not get into the tournament, especially with that one extra spot the NFL has granted the league with an opportunity of having. Pat, we've talked to you many a times about celebrations and things like that. But I can tell you this much. You look like you were having the time of your life. The entire team looked like they were having the time of their life. One time I saw you, air kick Kyler Murray on the sideline looking like Shawn Michaels with some sweet chin music. One time I saw you shoulder bump Cliff Kingsbury on the sideline as well. Man, talk about what that was like, man, and what was the vibe? What created that type of atmosphere on the sideline? Not to mention you and Buda Baker at one point in time ran down DeAndre Hopkins when he broke that crosser route, and I think he took it 60 or 70 yards. You guys were literally running on the sideline, chasing D-Hop just to celebrate with him. Talk about that team experience and the togetherness you guys displayed Monday night.
Well, Mac, it started in the locker room, man. We came out the locker room with that new 21 Savage running.
Oh, that's what y'all was bumping?
Literally, from that point on, it was just like we flipped the switch. And coming through the tunnel, walking into the field, it was just guys had that look in their eye. We had the look in our eyes that we knew we was going to come out here and dominate the Cowboys. No disrespect to them, but we just had that mindset, that mentality walking into that stadium. You know what I mean? So it started from the locker room. And when we got on the field and stuff started coming to happen, guys started making plays, the energy level just went to a whole nother level. And you know how it is. When you have swag, you play with energy, you play with that passion, everything else going to take care of itself. And that was just the first time that the world got to see this 2020 version of the Arizona Cardinals. We definitely feel like we left a lot out there because, we felt that they shouldn't score. That's how stellar we felt that we performed on the defensive side of the ball. And, Kyler only completing, 9 passes and still putting up 38 points. So still not, we still not hitting on, every cylinder right now, and that's the scary part, so as long as we can keep that vibe, that energy, that passion, caring for one another, having that continuity with one another, like I said, since we had our first, IG story, whatever you want to call that, like the sky's the limit for this football team, man. Like everybody has bought in. Everybody it's just a different vibe, a different energy, and I love every minute of it.
And Pat, I made a mistake. I mentioned that you guys chased down DeAndre Hopkins. It was actually Kenyon Drake on that last touchdown that killed a lot of fantasy owners' weekend matchup because that touchdown either made somebody win a ball game in fantasy or made somebody lose. Yes, no question. You don't know nothing about fantasy football because you
I
still the
don't.
same, but I'm all in. I'm all involved in. I'm all wrapped up. Speaking of Buda Baker, man, listen, I've been a fan of Buda Baker going back to his Washington days. When you guys drafted him, I spoke to you about how high I was on him, and he's starting to evolve into a superstar-like player at the safety position. He reminds me a lot of Bob Sanders. I call him Bob Sanders 2.0. And if you don't know who Bob Sanders is, for the listeners and viewers that are watching us, go pull up Bob Sanders, Indianapolis Colts. He reminds me a lot of Buda Baker. 7 tackles, a sack, forced fumble, interception. I mean, and
went crazy, man.
He went dumb. He went all the way dumb, right? But
and he was like that shirt I wore. That boy good. That boy real.
That boy, man, that boy for real, no question. I mean, boy. But the thing I want to talk about outside of his outstanding play, Pat, because the sky's the limit for him. But the unique celebration y'all boys had when he caught the interception. Man, y'all boys, first of all, y'all boys lined up like some bowling pins, and he got the bowling ball. And if you guys can go back and look at the highlight, you got to look at his bowling strut before he let the ball go to hit that strike. Man, talk about, was that already pre-planned based on the defensive thought process? Whoever make a big play, this is what we're going to do?
Yeah, it definitely was pre-planned. It was something I was cooking up all week. I forget what song I was listening to, and the guy who actually did the thing, I think that it was some bowling competition in the early 2000s, and he needed to roll a strike to win the match. So he rolled a strike. He was like, he was like, yeah, that's right. I did it. Who do you think you are? I am. So that was a whole background behind doing that celebration, because we had a feeling that someone on the defensive side of the ball was going to have it. Drake was the first one supposed to do it, but he didn't do it. He forgot it because
he ran, man. Yeah, he ran, and y'all had to chase him down.
Exactly. Yeah. So then Buda got it, and we was like, man, we got to do it. And it finally came out up under the bright lights, and everybody loved the celebration. And hopefully, we got another one this week. It's gonna be dope this week, man. Hopefully, we get that end zone, dog.
Yo, that's a nice segue for me. I appreciate you. You give me a nice pass like Rajon Rondo talking about this week matchup, Week 7, Seattle, the undefeated Seattle Seahawks with curly hair, Russell Wilson, who's a bad man. And homie, you got you a big matchup this week. You're talking about grown man and DK Metcalf, who's been balling. Clearly, he's been putting up big numbers. His quarterback has been putting up big numbers, man. Talk about this matchup specifically for you. You played against him last year, but right now he seems to be, evolving into a superstar-like player at the wide receiver position. He's not the normal size wide receiver, 6'4", 6'5", 230 plus, can run a 4.3. Talk about that matchup specifically for you, and how do you go about mentally trying to attack him as a cover guy?
Well, DK presents a ton of problems, with him having the size disadvantage, the strength that he has, and also having the speed, so he presents a lot of problems. So for the most part, I know he invites that physical matchup. That's what he wants. At the same time, that's what I like as well. So I think it's gonna be a great matchup. I know I got an opportunity to go up against him last year as he was, starting to come into his own. You could start to see late in the year, he started to get more and more confidence, started making some great big plays in that playoff run that they had late last year. So and he's been doing nothing but great things thus far through the first 7 weeks through the season. I believe he's top 10 in yardage. Got a pair of touchdowns. So he's more than capable of being a superstar in this league for sure. So like I always talk about, each and every week I have my plate full, and it's definitely a matchup that I'm looking forward to. I know he's going to prepare and bring his best game Sunday evening in the toaster, and I'm definitely preparing to have my best one as well.
Does he remind you of anybody you played against in the past when it comes to his size and his speed? You played against a lot of great wide receivers, but does he remind you of any one of your past opponents?
People I was, over the last 2 weeks, you've been hearing that Calvin Johnson comparison. I really don't see the Calvin Johnson comparison. You can say, I think I think DK is a little bit more shiftier than Calvin, you know, because Calvin was he was a hard stop and go type guy. You know, he was almost like a guy that's going to just, you know, run that deep over, run a deep ball, or just pretty much just throw it up to him. You know, DK, you know, he has it all. He's gonna run those intermediate routes. He's gonna run those comebacks. He's gonna run those digs, the goals, the posts, the overs, the pylon routes. You know, he has it all. You know, so that's what makes it difficult to cover him, because he's running all those routes in the route tree. You know, so but the guy I will say that, you know, I compare him to, and I think he's given up a little bit size to him, is Julio, though, just as far as the size and speed combination. I think that's very, very rare to find in a receiver. You know, you normally see skinnier, linkier receivers. You don't see guys like TOs. Like T.O. was a once in a lifetime type receiver.
Yeah.
Then came AJ Green, you know, and don't get me wrong, Larry's a great receiver, but he don't have like that body structure or body stature of those guys are like gods, you know what I mean? Those guys are like freaking ripped from, you know, from they got like 2% body fat, you know.
They should be on Game of Thrones.
Exactly. So you know, when you see a typical receiver, it's typically like a taller, linkier a receiver, but those guys are built like pit bulls, you know. So, and it's very rare that you see receivers like that. So DK is definitely having a great young career so far. I get opportunity to go up against him twice a year, and is looking forward to nothing but great matchups in the future to come.
No question. That's a good comparison, though. Basically, a bigger Julio. I like that. I like that. And talking about DK, we talked about Russell Wilson before on the show. All things covered. Patrick Peterson, Brian McFadden. Where would you rank Russell Wilson amongst all the quarterbacks in the National Football League?
And like right now?
Right now, yeah, right
2020
now.
Season?
2020 season. Where would you rank Russell?
Man, you know, I get to see him twice, man. Right now, nobody's playing better than Russ.
Yeah, I agree.
Nobody's playing better than Russ right now.
I definitely agree.
And December haven't even came yet. That's when he really at his best.
He played some of his best football towards the end of the season to go into the playoffs. You're right.
Right.
So, but you know what? The truck got to stop at some point.
Yeah.
Why not this Sunday, right?
No doubt about it.
Our boys got a nice surprise. You say you got a nice celebration. And man, listen, tell Dre, if he catch another interception, don't forget about the surprise. Don't forget about the celebration, man.
Man, I gotta work on my man Dre conditioning, man. He be talking about he be tired and stuff. Man, I get the dog right.
Tell him to hydrate. You gotta hydrate out in that desert. You know, he ain't used to that desert heat yet.